Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent snapping up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I'm not sure the correct title for it, but this little snowflake here is suspended on invisible thread, top and bottom there. So if you prep the card before you close it, what happens when the recipient gets it is the snowflake spins. All you need to do before you close it is just to wind this around 3 or 4 times like that. Okay, it's surprisingly simple to do for a card that really does pack a nice little surprise in it. So to start off with, I'm going to show you the card pieces we need. There's quite a few for this one. So you're going to start with the card base of Very Vanilla, which measures 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, scored down the centre at 4 1/8. A layer of Pool Party, which measures 4 inches by 4 5/8 inches. A layer of Very Vanilla, which measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches. And then you need a layer of DSP for the inside of the card, and this measures 4 inches by 5 5/8. And then for the rims that go around here, you need 2 squares that are about, let me check, 3 1/2 inches square, so you need 2 of those. And then you need 1 piece for your sentiment, which measures 2 1/4 inches and just a tad over 1 1/4 inch that way. And a layer of Pool Party, which measures 2 3/8 and a tad over 1 3/8. So those two will layer together nicely. And then finally, one other little piece for the inside. What I've done with mine is I've just put a little piece in there so that people can write their message, or if I decide to, I could stamp a sentiment there and then write inside there. I wanted to keep that clear though, so it didn't distract from the snowflake. Right, okay. I think what we'll do first is we will cut the holes in the front, and this is easier than you may think to get 3 sheets all lined up together. I'm going to use the Circle Collections Framelits, and I'm going to use numbers 6 and 7 starting from the inside. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So it's that one and that one. I suppose I ought to get the big shot over first, didn't I? Right, okay. Now do I need to do this on my grid paper? It is easier, but no, I'll be brave. Right. It's very difficult to try and use my grid paper and have the big shot here at the same time, but I'm sure I can do it like this. So I'm taking my top layer of Very Vanilla. I'm taking the smaller die, which is the number 6, and I'm going to just pop it on the front there. And I'm trying to make sure I've got the same gap there, there and there. Bearing in mind I'm going to have a sentiment that's going to be coming down here, and then there'll be a rim around this one as well. So that looks fine to me. So I'm going to pop that through. Now we're going to use the circles in the process of making this card, so don't lose it, don't let it go walkabouts. What we're going to do now is we're bringing in our Pool Party layer, and we're going to lay this on top. Lay it exactly where you want to be gluing it, so you've got the amount of edging around it. Okay, like that, so I'm happy with that. And then pop the die back inside with the cutting side down, and you will feel it nipping into the groove there. And then once you've done that, if you take your pencil, nice sharp point to it, and just draw very lightly around your circle. Now the reason I do it this way and not just draw around the circle of the vanilla, very vanilla piece, is because doing it like this, the pencil circle is very slightly larger, smaller rather, than the pencil circle you would get if you put this one down. Let me lift that up too, because I doubt if you can see that. And if I put that back on there again, you will see that there's an edge around it. See, the circle doesn't disappear completely, but it would do if you'd put your paper down and drawn that way. So it is a good idea to put this one down. So get this here. Now when I pop this on, because I can see the pencil a lot easier, it's much, I think, safer is the word I would use. Much safer and more likely that I'm going to get that circle in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to put that one through. The blue one we won't need for this project, but should be saved for the next one. And then we're going to do on the card front. Now, depending on how many scratches you've got here, that can transfer onto your cardstock, and if it's just a little area, then the rim is going to cover it, because we've got a blue rim on the inside as well as on the outside. But if any of the scratch marks go round, you're going to be able to see them. So to reduce the risk of that, what I do is I take a sheet of ordinary computer paper, just tear it down to size. I don't want to put two sheets through in case it makes it too thick, and I just lay that on there. So the worst of the scratches is going to be taken by a piece of paper. Now I'm going to lay this here. I'm going to put my blue piece on where I will be lining that one up, and again I'm going to pop that inside the rim. You can feel it slot into place, and then draw around. There really is not much of a difference in the size of these circles. It's just a tad, but it really does make it so much easier if you draw around the die rather than the actual cut circle. Okay. So now let's cut that one out. Okay, so I'll be needing that as well later. And that has covered up virtually everything. Last bit of cutting I need to do is from the two pieces of the pool party. I need the rims, so I'm going to use both number 6 and number 7. And they just need to be laid on top and try and get the same amount of gap between all the way through. Okay, so that'll be one. Okay, so there's another circle we could say for another project, but there's one rim. That may come in useful. I'll show you that why it may. And then we need the second rim. Right, that's the last of our work done with the big shot. Okay, so that's our other rim that we needed. Let's pop that one there. Okay, so I'll move that out of the way. So I'm going to start assembling this, and the first piece I'm going to do is to put my DSP inside here. This comes from a set in the Christmas catalogue called Home for Christmas. I always do mine like this to keep all my colours together so I can see at a glance what's what. And I'm going to adhere this with Tombow. That's fine. And on the other part of the inside I'm going to cut my frame out. I've forgotten what this one's called. I meant to look the name up, but it'll be on the screen for you. I'm just going to punch that out there, and again I'll pop that on using Tombow. Can't always see which is the better side on these. Most punches you can. One side is normally a lot better than the other. But I find quite often with Stampin' Up punches you can't always tell. Both sides just look good. Okay, so that's alright. Now on the front, on this card here, what I did was I put the pool party down and then I put the snowflake on, but you can just see the bump there where the cord is, the nylon thread. It's tiny, but I will put a bow on that to cover it up, but I don't want to have to do that on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two pieces together and then put the thread onto that one. I realise that it may show through on the reverse side, but I don't feel that that's quite so bad. So what I'm going to do first is adhere these two together. And what I try and do is I try and line these up with how I want them to go on here, but I'm watching how my circle is lining up on there as well. That needs to go over a bit. If it's slightly out, it's no big deal because the rim will help to disguise that. Okay, oops. So you can see that I've got a little bit of blue exposed, but nothing too much to worry about. So that will be going on like that. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now we're going to stamp our snowflakes, and this is where these two circles come in. And the snowflake I am using is the 3rd size from the Flurry of Wishes stamp set. This has its own special punch, and this one gets punched out with the flower medallion punch, which is this one here. Okay, so I'm stamping in Full Party ink, and I'm going to do 2 because obviously I want one back and one front, and I put the thread going through the middle. I join them together back to back and put the thread through the middle. Okay, so that's one. Oops, just felt myself do that. I just touched the ink pad. Right, let's try that again. There we go. Close that bit up. And then to punch this out, we are going to be a little bit short because that is not going to go in there. There's not enough room here to hold it. So what I'm going to do is I'm using some temporary adhesive, and I'm going to take one of these leftovers and make myself a little arm. Now this is the piece, this bigger piece, not the one that's got that little hooks on it, but the one that's got 3 complete ovals on it. That goes to the top of the punch. So I'm going to pop that on there, and that will give me enough room to get this in to line it up. And I find the best way to get this lined up is to choose 2 that are absolutely opposite each other, and make sure that it's got the same amount of gap between the edge of the punch on both sides, and then you can be happy that everything else is lining up. My arm's falling off. Oh dear. Squeeze that back again. Alright, let's try again. Okay. Yep, that looks the same as that one, so I know all of these are going to be alright. And it is. That you could save as a little stencil for sponging around. I know I won't do that, so I will get rid of it. Right, now this one again, that's going to be at the top of the punch. So I'll put my arm back, line it up, make sure that matches that, and you're good to go. That can go. I will just clear these little bits off the back. No doubt there's a couple on here. Nope. Oh, that's a surprise. Okay, now this is going to be the only tricky bit that you have. So I'm using some ordinary tape, which I always forget to save the end. But this is far too wide, so what I'll do is take a small strip . Not that bit. Oops, don't want that. Just take a small strip like that, and then cut it that way. Okay, so you can sit there, and this one, and I have a reel of invisible thread. Shall I try and show you invisible thread? I don't know whether this will work or not. Oh yes, you can see that, can't you? It is really, really brilliant stuff, this is. I love it. Okay, so I'm taking the end. You have to take my word for this. And and I'm letting it go over the top, and to make sure that I've got this more or less in the centre, because if it's not in the centre it's not going to spin. I know my card here is 4 1/8 of an inch, so if I just leave that over a tad and that over a tad, I know 2 inches is going to be, oops, where have you gone? If I leave leave it there for 2 inches, right, you stay there. It's going to be in the middle. Okay, so lay that down there. Put my tape over it. And just give that a rub to make sure that it does actually stick down properly. Okay, so can you see the other piece here? And what I do, because that's on, oops, I've moved it. That's still okay. That's slightly off there. That shouldn't make any difference. Well, as long as we make sure that that stays there, and then this one, okay, I've got the thread again, and I'm going to make sure it lines up with the 2nd inch in, which at the bottom here is 6. Okay, now anchoring it down with my thumb now, okay, so anchor it there. I'll take my little bit of tape off of the thing that was holding it, and then I can put that down. Okay, now I'm just going to cut that off. I've got quite a piece there, but I will trim that up when I'm happy. Okay, so can you see where my string is in the middle there? It's nylon thread, I shouldn't keep referring to it as string. Oh yes, you can see it towards the top there, can't you? But it is all there, trust me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Tombow on here, and I'm going to make the thread go from that top point down to that point, and I'm going to do it from that side like that. So all I need to do is make sure I don't get too much Tombow on here so that it oozes out, but making sure I put on enough that it's going to hold. Okay, so I will use a piece of scrap paper, and what I do with this is I just go round the edges of the pointy bits, not too close because this glue will squidge out a bit. Okay, just a bit in the middle there, and then this is the line it's going to be, the thread's going to be going down, so I want to make sure I've got glue down there that's going to hold it. Okay, now you may want to keep your piece of paper under there, and I like to use my tweezers for this bit. Right, I'm going to move it in. I'm closing my card down so that I can see where the nylon thread is, and I'm going to make sure that that top one is lined up first, and then I'm going to make sure that the second one is lined up. Obviously if it's not in the centre, if it's not straight, it's not going to turn. Move that. Now that I'm very happy with. This is where you have to try and work one-handed. Bring the other flower in and put some more glue on. You could try doing this bit at the same time as you're putting the glue on the first snowflake, but I don't like doing that because I feel that it just puts me under too much pressure to make sure I get the job done quickly. Right, now all I need to do is to line this snowflake up on top of that one. Okay, And that's it. Done. Easy. Alright, then I can move that out of the way, and as it happens I didn't get any glue on it, but that would have been a little safety thing for me if I had have done. Okay, so you can see how my snowflake, I'm not going to twist it just yet, give it a time to rest. Okay, actually you see how that's quite a bit lower. There's not much of a gap there, but there's quite a big gap there. That's not happened to me before, but let's see if I can push that up. See if I hold on to the string first, the thread first. Or maybe pull the thread up. No, doesn't want to go. Really does not want to shift. Okay, we'll have to test it then, because I don't want to get this all finished off and find out that it's not going to work. Okay, so just twist it a few times. Open it up. Oh, that's fine, that's working. I'm happy. Right, now I'm going to put this piece on here, and again Tombow. That bit's gone a bit thick, let's spread that out a bit. Right, just as we did before, what we need to do is to line this up how we want it to go on our card, at the same time watching how this is lining up with our circle. Okay, it's quite easy. Oh, I forgot to cut that off. I wonder if that will just lift up a little bit for me. Yes, good, good. Okay. Oh, that was lucky. That feels better. I can't feel the thread going through there. I don't know what mark this is I've got on here. Oh, good, it's gone. If you don't have one of these rubber eraser, no, adhesive remover, adhesive eraser, I don't know, whatever, but it removes glue. It's brilliant. Now I'm going to put these two on, my two rims. So a thin line of Tombow. And just start lining it up from one position. Just follow it around. There we go, that's fine. And then do the same on the inside. Again, start on one side of the circle and gradually ease it down. So there we go, that's all done. And now the final piece is to do the sentiment, and I tend to cut my pieces to size and then use my Stampin' jig, which I've already prepped, that's all ready to go. So I'll put that down with temporary adhesive, and this is my sheet. that looks good. And the Stampin' Jig tool, oops, move that, let's just make sure that's in a good position. Yes, I'm happy with that. And then my stamp and my ink. And just slide that in the corner, slide it down, and it should be perfect. There we go. You may notice that on my stamp here I have actually cut quite a bit of the excess rubber off. I do that to my stamps if I feel that there's too much ink getting on the outsides. But if you do decide to do that, a word of warning, it will make your guarantee with Stampin' Up null and void. The reason I don't worry about it is because I don't expect to have problems with my stamps. I never have, so if there's rubber there that I don't want, I cut it off. And I have to say that every time I've done it, it has improved my stamping. Where's my rubbish bin gone? I've normally got a little rubbish bin on the table, but I don't know what I've done with it today. Right, more Tombow to put my stamping on top of my layer. And I'm going to adhere that using dimensionals, which I'm sure I put on the side over here. I did oh, here, is that it? Yes. I did do a little quick check before I started the video, making sure that everything was to hand. Okay, so we'll have 4 dimensionals. I've got one more little bit of stamping to do. And don't put that on upside down, come on. Just pop that there. In the corner I used some little holly, which came from Oh What Fun, and it's this one that I'm using. And I didn't tell you that the sentiment came from Cozy Christmas, this one here. So with my Full Party ink, I'm just going to pop some holly in the corner there, and then another one up here. There we go. And I think it's just the little bit of bling now. That's here. So the bling that I've used in the middle are, I think we're calling them iced diamonds, and they're these beautiful little things that actually look like engagement rings. They've got like the big diamond in the middle and lots of little ones around the outside. So I put one on the centre of the snowflake. That's on the outside. And then I do one on the inside. And something I did on this card that I'm not doing on here because I'm not really very happy with it. I put some little diamonds here. I don't know, maybe it does look nice. I'll think about it anyway. So that's my card today. Don't think I've forgotten anything now, have I? Nope, the jury's still out, as I say about that one. So just let's see, make sure it does actually work. Just turn it around a few times. Close it up. Send it to somebody, they open it and say, what a beautiful card. Oh wow. Now that's impressive, isn't it? And it was easy to do. I really, really hope you give this one a try. It is fun, it's lovely, it's easy. All the steps are there. I will just show you one other that I made. This one I posted to my blog. Was it this week? I don't know. But I obviously changed the colours up on this one. Let's just turn that around. Close it up, and then when you open it, as you can see, I've used heat embossing on this. There we go. So there we go. Really, really nice little card there. Many thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'm always very, very happy to help you. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, which is probably on the right hand side of your screen, or it may be beneath the screen, depends what you're watching the video on. If you'd like to buy any of the products that I featured here, apart from, I'm afraid, the invisible nylon thread, please click on the link that's showing at the bottom of the screen, and that'll take you to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.